This is Ginger from My Sister Scrapper. Welcome to another Thursday tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be another request that I've had several for, and it's the page style that I use for my Raining Cats and Dogs Graphic 45 mini album, as well as the Marion Smith Garment District mini album. Now it's the same page style, it's just they're just a different size is all, and I'm going to share with you today how I created these pages. Okay, so the measurements, and I'll explain how you can cut it down, but I will give you the measurements for the one in the Raining Cats and Dogs. So what you're going to need is a scoreboard, which you will always need when you take when I do a tutorial, because I love my scoreboard. It's the best invention ever. Pair of scissors, obviously your paper trimmer, a ruler. If you want to use a decorative edge, you will need that, and it can be any one that you like. I also like to use my envelope punch board to make my notches for my pockets. A ruler, a good burnisher here, as well as your cardstock. Now I made the Raining Cats and Dogs out of black cardstock, but it's way easier to see on a tutorial to show you using the craft color. So I like to use 8.5 by 11, and I have a lot of people ask what kind of cardstock I use, where do I get it, etc., etc. I like the craft cardstock from Hobby Lobby. And it's by the Paper Studio, and the reason why I like it is, number one, it's an actual craft, like a paper bag color, and it's a good weight to make pages from, and it doesn't crack or tear. When I make black pages or white pages, I do buy my paper from Michaels. It's the Recollections brand, and I buy the 8.5 11, and the reason why is because I can get it on sale. It's usually on sale quite a bit. And same with the Hobby Lobby craft paper. It usually goes on sale for half price. So that's what I buy. So what you're going to need to create the page is one sheet of, for every page you will need one sheet of 8.5 by 11. And I use 8.5 by 11 because you have less waste that way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our paper trimmer out, and we're going to trim our piece of 8.5 by 11 down. So we're going to leave it 11 inches this way, and we're going to trim it off, so it's going to be 7.5. So we want our piece of paper, instead of 8.5 to 11, to be 7.5 by 11. So go ahead and put it in there. Make sure it's straight. So using 8.5 by 11, this is the only waste that you will have. So once you trim your paper down, you're going to take your scoreboard, and you're going to put your paper in here with the 11 inches in the horizontal going across the top this way. And the first score mark is going to be at 2 inches. The next score mark is going to be at 6.5. You're going to take your paper and rotate it a quarter turn. So your 7.5 is going this way, and what we want to do is we want to have a 1/2 inch score line on both sides. Now it's kind of hard for me to score on this side, so I usually just go ahead and score a 1/2 inch, which would be at the 7 mark on this side, and then I flip my paper around and score it again. I think it's because I'm right-handed or something, I don't know. Okay, so that's all the scoring that we're going to do, and that basically is going to be our page. So we're finished with our scoreboard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and we've got that 2-inch score mark here at the top, and then our section in the middle, and then the one on the bottom. We're going to take that bottom section, and we're going to go ahead and fold it up, and it should come right to that other score line. Go ahead and burnish it. Okay. Then we're going to take it like this, flip it over, and we're going to go ahead and fold this small 2 inches up to make that little pocket. Okay. So now go ahead and unfold it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do some trimming here, because we don't need all these tabs on every section. So go ahead and get your paper trimmer out again. And you're going to put your paper trimmer in here, and you've got the 2-inch section facing you at the bottom and the larger section at the top. We're going to go ahead and trim that 1/2 inch section off all the way down till we get to that 2-inch score line. Then we're going to stop. So we're going to just trim that off all the way down and stop. Now we're going to take it and we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do we're going to do some trimming on this side. Again, put it so that 1/2 inch is in your cutting channel, and we want to cut out this center 1/2 inch section here, not the top one or that small bottom with the one in the middle. So go ahead and take your blade and line it up and just trim that section off. Make a slice right there. So we're done with our paper trimmer. Now what you're going to want to do is get your scissors out, and we want to cut this off. And I like to cut mine at an angle just so it folds easier. We're going to cut that off, and we're going to remove this little section here. So again, we're going to take our scissors and we're going to trim off here, and we're going to trim off here. Okay, so your page should look like this. Okay, now let's go ahead and fold it back together. Again, we have our little 2-inch piece at the top. We're going to fold this in and burnish it, flip it over, and that's our pocket. So now we're going to put our page together. So what we want to do first before we put our page together is let's go ahead and fold our tabs in. So this little small pocket here, we're going to fold these tabs in. Okay, and that's going to get glued down right there, and that's going to make our pocket for our side. But before we glue them down, if you want to do your decorative edge, and I did allow for a decorative edge, you would go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to use the Fiskars one here because that's what's handy. And I always like to start in the center, and I'm sure you know how to do this. So now we can go ahead and we can glue this pocket down right here. And you can use either score tape or a wet glue. I'm going to go ahead and just use my wet glue. Now if you want to mat your paper first, you can. I prefer not to because I want to make sure that I can slide my paper in there and I can cover up those little tabs so they don't catch on my tags. Okay. So now we have our pocket created for the side, and again, this is going to be our binding edge. This is our side pocket. We're going to flip our page over, and we're going to have a pocket here at the top. So we need to close this bottom section, so go ahead and fold that tab in. Okay, like this. Now before we glue our tab down, you want to make your little notch. You don't have to make a notch. I like to, and I like to use my envelope punch board to do that. And again, I think I shared this last week, that the way we determine where to put our notch is we measure the width of our page, and it's 4.5 inches, so half of 4.5 would be 2 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and open our page up, and we're going to put this edge on the 2 1/4 mark. And we are going to punch. Okay, and that's our notch for our tag. Now we can go ahead and close up this bottom. Again, I'm going to use my wet glue. You can use score tape or whatever you prefer. So just put your glue on this little tab here. And go ahead and fold it down. Okay, and that's our page, just like that. So we have our pocket here, you turn our page, and we have our large pocket here. But this is open, and why this is open is this is what's going to sit on your hinge binding. So we're going to pretend this is our hinge binding. And I have, I know a lot of people ask about how do you do the covers and the spine and the hinges, and I do have those tutorials already available on any of my series tutorials. You'll see, learn how to do that, and it's the same concept for any mini album. So this is your hinge, and this is going to sit right in here on your hinge, and it'll close up that pocket. Okay, so basically that's it. That's our little page, and that's how I made the pages in the Graphic 45 Raining Cats and Dogs, as well as the one for the Marion Smith. Now you can make this any size you want, as far as the height and as far as the width, whatever you choose to do. Just decide how this is how you would do it. And I'm not a math whiz, but this is how I do it. You figure out, number one, what you want, how wide you want your page. This page is 4.5. Let's say for this particular mini album here, I wanted it to be like an A2 size card, like 4.25 by 5.5. Okay, and which is my pages in here are 4.25. So what you're going to do to determine your page length, and again, you can use 8.5 by 11 to do this. So your page is going to be 4.25. So we need to have 4.25 plus another 4.25 is going to be our 8.5 plus our 2 inches. So that would be 10.5. So you would trim your paper to 10.5 inches. So you take a 1/2 inch off of that 8.5 by 11 piece. Okay, so then to determine the height, this page is 6.5, but the pages in this book were 5.5. So we're going to make them an inch shorter. So what we want to do is we want to determine our page, which is going to be 5.5, but then we need to add our 1/2 inch tabs. So that would be an extra inch. So we would cut this page to make the same size as this. We would cut this paper to 10.5 by 6.5. And then the scoring is the same. You would score it at 2 inches to create your pocket, and then you would score it to whatever the width that you want your page to be, which is 4.25. So we'd score it 6.25, and then this would be the end. And then everything else is exactly the same way. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. It's really easy, and again, you can make them any size you want. Once you know, it's not rocket science. I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it. It's super easy. So there you go. Let me know what you think, and I hope that works out for everybody. And there you have it. That is how I created the pages in the Raining Cats and Dogs Graphic 45 mini album, as well as the Marion Smith Garment District. There you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.